Does visual content play a role in your social media brand today? Hi, welcome to the Stratazine podcast, where we dive deep into social media topics every week. I'm your host, Nate Kennedy, and I'm joined once again by Faith Gordon.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here again.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming back another time. This our topic where we're focusing on today is visual content in social media, and according to WordStream, 95 million photos and videos are shared a day on Instagram. And when I hear that statistic, I'm like, wow, that's lots and lots of photos. But it also brings up this bigger question of really focusing on visual content, especially for social media. To you, what role does visuals play for a brand?
Yeah, visuals are so important for your brand because that's what initially pulls your audience in. We tend to be really visual people, and so that's typically the first thing that captures our attention and drives our interest in a brand. Do you want to have good visuals?
Yeah, no, visuals are, I think, the first thing that I think of when I hear the name of a brand. It's so important to have, I think, a clear a style, especially when it comes to visuals. According from a survey from Venegay, in 2021, more than 51% of marketers said that they used visuals in 91% to 100% of their content. And 36.4% within that segment used original infographics or illustrations. I think that even shows even more the importance of visuals in a brand, because so many people are going to be scrolling, and that's the first thing that's going to catch their attention is your visual style. When I think of visual style, I like to think of branding style guides of, hey, what does my brand really look like? What is it saying? To you, why are style guides so important in a brand's visuals?
Style guides to me are so important because it keeps your brand consistent. It's reliable for the audience. So if your audience likes your style and your visuals originally, they know that the next time they come to access your content or do anything related to your brand, that your visuals and your style is going to be the same, So it keeps it consistent, and just super reliable for your audience. If they know that if they like something, they'll probably like it the next time that they come in contact with that brand.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you hit on this point of consistent style helps build authenticity with a brand. This quote, it comes from Adobe. It says, "Brand guidelines help you pull together all the elements that make up who you are so you can build an identity beyond what you sell. Your customers will be able to visualize what you stand for when they hear your name." I really think the style guide helps us gives us that clear image of, hey, what am I getting into right now? Or what is this brand telling me? One example I think of a brand that does style guides really well is Walmart. When you think of Walmart, the first thing I think of is Walmart Blue. Honestly, I think they actually just changed the name of that color to Walmart Blue.
I think they did. That's so funny.
But you have that clear blue. You have the star with that yellow, and then you have the slogan of "Save money, live better." And so from basically those three colors, I'm able to get a clear picture of like, hey, okay, this is what I know Walmart is, or this is what they're saying with their style. And I think when you apply that to visual content, especially on social media, so many people aren't going to be spending, like a minute staring at your style. It's probably going to be around like 3 to 5 seconds. But within that, the 3 to 5 seconds, it's like, what am I really saying with my visual imagery? And so I think having that clear style allows for your audience not only to know where you're coming from, but it makes it a lot easier for them to focus on, hey, what am I going to get out of this brand? Because as I kind of talked about last week, authenticity matters so much in order to be able to have your audience trust your brand and what you're going for.
I love that. I also think you kind of touched on this, but it also keeps your brand super recognizable. And so if you are consistent with your style and the colors or whatever it is that you're choosing, people are going to recognize your brand as soon as they see it. So I really like that point. I think of McDonald's, you see those McDonald's arches and you know exactly where it's at. You know what you're getting. And the same with their colors, the red and the yellow. So you see those colors, you think of McDonald's and you recognize that brand and their message right away.
Yeah, no, I think that is a great example. It's almost making me hungry to be like, really go for like a Big Mac and some fries right now.
Have to McDonald's after this.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really fascinating quote to show, in a day and age where we can say whatever we want online and it can reach millions of people. What matters most isn't necessarily always the words that are found, but the images that are associated with that word. Like it says, our brains are going to be a lot more likely to want to stop and see what that visual is and maybe what it's saying, rather than if we just saw text immediately out. From a different article by Forbes, it says people are now more likely to remember information if it is presented visually rather than through text alone. In other words, incorporating visuals into marketing materials can be a powerful way to ensure your target audience remembers your message. And I think that's really interesting, that last part. It says your target audience remembers your message, the role that visuals can play in that. To you, why do you think it's so important for your audience to remember your message?
Yeah, you want your audience to understand what you stand for, and you want your message to resonate with your audience. When your audience understands your message and knows what your message is and remembers that, they feel like they can relate to your brand in some way, probably. And they feel like they know you and your brand and the product that you have or that you're selling, whatever that product is. So it really is a way to connect with your brand and your audience. It's really, really important. I just think of so many companies and brands that you see their logo, you see their colors, and you know exactly what message they have and what message that they're sending. And if you like their message, you're gonna want to engage with that brand, that company, and buy their product.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you're able to, understand that message, you're a lot more likely to engage with it, and you're also a lot more likely to share it around. From that same article, it says another 22 study from Demand Gen Report revealed that 30% of users see accessible visuals as a key driver for sharing content. I think when you have visuals that are very easy to share, it makes it a lot more easier to engage with it. I think of, I know sometimes in my family group chat, we like to send each other, we're big Star Wars fans, so we'll send each other like Star Wars quotes or Star Wars memes. And whenever we find a good one, we usually just try to send it in our group chat. But I think finding something or finding a brand that you really want to share or has visuals that make you like, oh, this is very easy, I should send this to my friend, I think is very important, because word of mouth can be some of the most effective marketing for your brand on social media. I think a great example of someone whose content is pretty easy to share, especially in the marketing world, is Gary Vee. Gary Vee, not only does he has so many insights and there's so many video clips of him just breaking down, hey, this is what works for your brand, but he has also a lot of graphics that are not only very well put together, but they share his message very concisely, neatly, and on brand for him. I think having that clarity with your visuals, or people are like, yes, I want to share this, or especially in his case, where, if you're in the social media marketing game or trying to up your marketing skills, it really allows for that engagement, because Gary Vee has, I think, one of the best communities of trying to learn and better their skills for their brand or business. And so I think when you focus on putting the visuals to share a message that your audience can remember and to want to share with friends or family or other people in their industry, it allows for content that is so much easier to engage with and to create that sense of community. That, that's why social media was created in the first place, is to allow people to connect and share all across the world.
Yeah, that's great. That's a really great example.
I think another element, though, and one of the most important elements we sometimes forget in the visual medium or sometimes in social media, is storytelling. For you, how do you think storytelling affects visual content?
Yeah, you want your visuals to match your story. So it plays a really big role on your visual content. They need to go hand in hand together. They need to work together. Again, I think of McDonald's. They have a message of family and community. Their visual is a clown, which is a great example of family and community, a great visual for that. and their colors are red and yellow. So their colors are bright, they're warm, they're inviting. It wouldn't make sense for their message to be one of family and community and to have a visual that's a clown and then have their colors be, black and a neon orange or something crazy. You don't want dark, heavy colors or a dark, heavy visual if your message is family and community. It all needs to be cohesive and work together because your visuals and your story are sharing your message. They're both telling a story. They're both telling a message. And so it needs to go hand in hand and work together because they can't work one without the other. And so if your story and your visuals don't match, your visuals are going to tell your story for you in a lot of ways. So it needs to match whatever your message is, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I think your visuals are the first representation of the story you're telling. From another article from Forbes, it says storytelling is what captivates an audience. It's what gives brands a voice. Your visuals are going to reflect that story you're telling and say, hey, what is my message that I'm trying to get people to connect to? Another quote from the audience, it says, build a loyal audience by speaking from the truth. If you run a business, get in touch with your personal why and share that vulnerability and authentically. By being specific and focused on your why, you're more likely to attract those that resonate with your message the most. And that will 100% build loyalty and translate to more sales. People want a reason to support and root for you. Give that to them. And I think that quote really emphasizes the point of a good story will make people want to connect with you, will make people want to come. I think stories are found, so much in our lives. And if you think about it, we're constantly telling stories, whether it be with our friends, whether we're watching a movie, but stories are such a part of human life. And when a brand can clearly communicate its story, which is usually found through visuals, it allows for people want to come together and to, like it says in that quote, support that brand. And they just need a reason to support that. Along with your example of McDonald's, I think a brand that does a great job of storytelling for their brand is Nike. I think one of my favorite commercials from Nike, it's titled Wait For It. It was right after the 2016 NBA championships. LeBron James wins his third championship in Cleveland, and the message it shows all these people reacting to that news that the champion had finally come to their city, which hadn't been there for 50 years. But the message that they show with that is it's not focusing on, oh, look what this athlete did, but rather look at the people that in this town, in this city, that care about that. And it really strikes a chord with you because it builds a sense of community and also builds this inspiration that not only can we come together for something great to happen to our city, but this emotional resonancy of, wow, this hasn't happened in a long time. And now we can come together and celebrate this great thing that hasn't happened in forever. And so I think really storytelling, especially storytelling in your visuals, you may not have the highest graphics or you may not have the most polished content, but if you can tell a great story, it allows you to build that community and to build those points that your audience will come to resonate with and remember.
Absolutely. It's one of, if not the most important thing when it comes to building up your brand. And so it's what keeps people coming back for more, and it's what keeps people relating to your content, feeling like you're authentic and you're human just as they are. And it builds that connection between you and your audience, and it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah. I think we'll close up with this final quote. Also comes from the same article with Forbes. It says, the question for retailers is, how do we create that stickiness? How do we create community? How do we remain relevant in the lives of our consumers? It's about promise. It's a promise of, here's what my brand is all about. It's about being able to connect with the consumer in a different way. And it's about being able to deliver on that brand promise. And I think that ties into the message that you're sharing, the visuals that you're creating. Are you creating a consistent style for people to come back to and to see your authenticity? Are you focusing on building connection and to sharing, being able to share that with others? And are you focused on storytelling and sharing what your message is all about and how is it important? I think if you're able to do that with your visuals, that allows for you to create content not only that people will stop scrolling and look at, but also create a brand that people want to come to connect to because of all the things that your visuals are doing.
That's wonderful.
But that's all the time we have for today. Faith, thank you so much for coming into the podcast once again.
Thanks for having me here again. I had such a great time.
For all you listeners out there, I hope that helps you better understand how visuals can be such an important part of your brand on social media. But thank you all for listening, and we hope to see you next time on The Deep Dive.